And what's up Team Tasman, welcome back to some Mario Maker 2, and today we're talking about everyone's favorite Koopaling, Lemmy. So Lemmy has these big bouncing balls, which is actually really distracting, and there's a lot of uses for these. It's good for trolls, it's good for distracting people, it's good for getting around places. So today we're going to be looking at the top 10 ways to use Lemmy and his magical bouncing balls. Let's get into it. Alright, and at number 1 we have just the bouncing balls without ever needing Lemmy in the picture. So right here we have a very simple setup that allows Lemmy to never get out and to never hurt the player, so it's good for anti-Softlocks, and he also will still be able to shoot balls outside of his cage. So this makes it really useful for a lot of setups. Even the simplest of jumps can be made hard by all of these bouncing balls, and you could have up to 7 of these in one subworld or on the main world, so it could get really chaotic if you chose to make something really difficult. And to show you all what I'm talking about, right here we see basically an impenetrable wall of just his big bouncy balls, and these are so annoying. It's almost impossible to get past them, but not quite. And one important thing I do want to note is he can escape if you have a ground block right there, so you do have to make sure you do not have anything there, because for some reason he can walk out of the one way if there's ground there. But if there's no ground, he will stay inside, and he'll be able to shoot balls forever. Now that we've taken a look at this setup, let's move on to the next one. And coming in at number 2, we are going to have boss fights. Because of this setup that I showed in number 1, he makes a very distracting boss fight. And it's very hard to get around and on platforms and jump on the boss when there's big bouncing balls flying all over the place. So that's going to be a really tricky setup to beat, and with you can pretty much do this with any boss fight. I just picked Larry because he's the easiest one, and with this distraction you kind of need a bit of an easier challenge. And for number 3, we're going to be looking at just getting around. It's honestly just so much harder when there's all these bouncing balls to just get anywhere. Like, I'm struggling to just get over to this side. And then if you have one ways on both of these, you can have them shoot it out both sides, which is pretty useful. Alright, and coming in at number 4 is going to be anti-softlock chambers. So let's go in here, and when you're trying to get somewhere that you need to go to die, it is not going to be easy with everything going on in here. So I'm just trying to wall jump up here, but all the balls keep on pushing me back down, which is actually really hard. And this was a relatively easy anti-softlock because you just need to get to the top. So there's a lot of different ways that you can apply this. This was just one way, and it could be a pain to go anywhere when you're involving Lemmy in an anti-softlock. Next up, for number 5, we're doing different kinds of boss fights. If you have to deal with a normal boss and then you add bouncing balls into the mix, that's going to be a real pain. So this is a little bit different than the other one we did, because this one is actually a part of the boss fight. So it's a part of the boss, which is a little bit different, but kind of the same premise. And for number 6, if you find yourself across a pit that you just simply can't get around, these are going to be really great for helping you get across, because you can bounce on them just as if it was a spring or anything, except it's moving. So it's a little bit more of a challenge, which I actually kind of like. And for number 8, have you ever wanted to make hot garbage that just makes people want to die? Then you should use 7 Lemmys all in a stack. This is a great opportunity to make your friends hate themselves and question why they're friends with you. So if you want to do that, then make sure to do this. In my level 7 unique boss fights, I made sure that I made 7 themed levels based around each character. So this could be a really cool thing to do with Lemmy, because there's definitely a resemblance between the donuts and his balls that he shoots out, so I thought that this was a really cool idea, and there's definitely a lot further that you could go with this. Like, especially if there was moving donuts and such, you could do some really cool stuff with this. And for number 10, this is a really simple one. Lemmy is just a really cool boss on his own, and I really appreciate how cool he is. Like, he is so cool with all of the bouncing balls, and the only way you can really take damage from him is by touching him. So I think that's actually one of the better boss battles. It's not as frustrating, but it is still a bit of a challenge. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed my list of top 10 things you can do with Lemmy and his magical balls. So thank you for watching Team Tazma, and make sure to get some creative Lemmy levels going on. I would love to see them if you have any already, or anything that includes any of the new stuff. Make sure to put a level description down below and maybe I'll check it out sometime. And until next time, Team Tazma.